Welcome to Vantage Aditya. Picture this. A lone figure stands on the rooftop of a glass tower, staring down at the glittering veins of a sleepless city. Hundreds of thousands of lives swirl below, each pulse of light a dream, a struggle, a heartbeat. And yet, up here there is silence. The kind of silence that roars. He has everything: power, admiration, legacy, yet he stands utterly alone. In the next few minutes, you'll walk through the hidden corridors of leadership, from the emotional exile of kings and presidents to the corporate boardrooms where smiles hide daggers. And by the end, you'll see why power doesn't just elevate leaders, it isolates them. Stay till the end, because in the final moments, we'll uncover the one paradoxical truth that can keep a leader human while standing alone at the summit. But first, let's begin where all isolation begins, with applause. In the early days, leadership feels like connection. People cheer for you, admire you, lift you. That's how it always begins. The rise feels like belonging. But watch carefully. With every promotion, every step upward, something invisible shifts. Conversations shorten. Laughter thins. People become careful. You enter a room and the air stiffens. At first, you tell yourself it's respect, but it's distance. And here's the first hook most people miss. The more powerful you become, the less truth you hear. Because everyone begins curating what they say. They fear offending you. They fear being cut off from your circle. So they nod, they agree, they flatter. Friends fade into subordinates. Peers dissolve into stakeholders. And this is where loneliness quietly begins its work. Watch what happens next. It's brutal and invisible. Even the greatest leaders have walked through this fog. Take Abraham Lincoln during the American Civil War. He was surrounded by senators, generals, advisors, and yet his private letters bleed despair. He couldn't reveal doubts or grief. Weakness would have shattered the fragile faith people placed in him. He had to carry the weight of life and death decisions alone. Or Winston Churchill. Even as the world celebrated him for steering Britain through the Second World War, he wrote about walking through cheering crowds and feeling like a ghost drifting through other people's triumph. Power didn't fill their world. It hollowed it out. In a moment, we'll dive into how modern corporate leaders face the same exile in a different mask. But first, understand this: isolation is not an accident. It is the price of altitude. Now imagine this inside a modern office tower. A young manager becomes CEO. The same colleagues who used to share memes, coffee, and weekend stories suddenly speak to them like they're speaking to a machine. Conversations shrink to surface level. No one jokes freely. The cafeteria table where they once sat feels foreign now. And here's the dark twist: you don't change. Everyone else's perception does. That's how leadership severs your human connections. You can't be one of us anymore because you are now responsible for all of us. And you can't undo it. If you try to be informal, it feels forced. If you try to be close, they suspect manipulation. If you try to be vulnerable, they whisper about weakness. Coming up next, we'll go even darker into the mental prison leaders build to survive this exile, and how it slowly kills their humanity. When leaders climb, they wear armor: confidence, decisiveness, control. But that armor becomes their cage. If they cry, they are weak. If they hesitate, they are indecisive. If they rage, they are unstable. So they stop showing emotion entirely. They become statues. And when people stop seeing your humanity, they stop offering theirs. This is where the isolation becomes internal. They stop asking how you feel. They only ask what your decision is. Over time, you stop asking yourself how you feel. You only ask what must be done. Power silently amputates emotion, and what's left is function without soul. Psychologists have found this is not just metaphor. Studies at University of California, Berkeley show power literally dulls the brain's empathy response. Not because powerful people are cruel, but because their minds numb empathy to survive the overload of responsibility. And here's the paradox: empathy is the bridge to human connection. When it fades, leaders become marooned on their own islands. Stay with this, because the next part is the most haunting. Even trust dies at high altitude. Every smile might hide ambition. Every compliment might mask strategy. Did they stay late because they care or because they want your chair? Leaders start treating every interaction like chess. And when someone finally shows genuine care, they suspect manipulation. This is the cruelest twist of all. Leaders crave connection but no longer trust it. Think about Steve Jobs in his later years. Revered by millions, feared by thousands, but known to have eaten many meals alone, surrounded by people yet unreachable to all of them. Or Angela Merkel, often photographed walking alone after global summits, silent while the world called her the most powerful woman alive. She later admitted she had almost no close friends left outside politics. They didn't fail. They rose. And altitude is lonely. In a moment, we'll reach the deepest layer, where leaders begin to lose not just others, but themselves. As decisions grow heavier, values start to erode. Early in their rise, leaders are fueled by ideals, fairness, compassion, loyalty. But power forces brutal trade-offs. Fire 10 to save 1,000. Delay justice to preserve stability. Sacrifice honesty to maintain hope. Each compromise chips away at identity. Until one day they look in the mirror and see not the person who began the journey, only a strategist shaped by necessity. This is why many leaders collapse after achieving everything. The public sees burnout. They feel something worse, the death of their former self. Even Nelson Mandela, who endured decades in prison dreaming of freedom, admitted that once he became president, he felt lonelier than in his cell. Because now no one truly understood the weight he carried. Coming next, how some leaders survive this loneliness without losing their soul. The first key is to stop denying it. Leaders suffer most not because they are lonely, but because they believe they shouldn't be. They confuse loneliness with weakness. But it is not weakness. It is proof they are carrying what others cannot. Naming it strips it of shame. Second, they build inner anchors, values that do not depend on applause. A personal compass untouched by public storms. Because when applause fades, principles remain. Third, they nurture relationships outside their hierarchy. Friends who knew them before the crown. People not impressed by power and not threatened by vulnerability. This is hard. Pride resists it. But it is vital. These few people become lifelines. And lastly, they transform their loneliness into empathy. Leaders who survive solitude become protectors of others. They build cultures where people can speak freely, where masks are not mandatory, where warmth still breathes. This is the paradox. Loneliness breaks leaders who deny it, but builds legends who embrace it. So if you are rising and feel more alone than ever, do not panic. Nothing is wrong with you. It means you are carrying the cost. It means you are stepping where most fear to walk. Yes, the summit is silent. But silence is not death. Silence is clarity. It strips away noise until only the essence of who you are remains. And if you can stand in that silence without collapsing, you will discover something extraordinary. Loneliness does not kill leaders. It reveals them. Before you leave, pause for one moment. Think of the leaders you admire most. The icons, the visionaries, the legends. Now ask yourself, were they truly celebrated when alive, or only once they were gone? Was their loneliness the price of their greatness? Or was it their greatness itself, the ability to walk alone? Comment below. Do you believe loneliness is inevitable in leadership? Or can true leaders stay connected while rising? And tell us, what other hidden truths of leadership, power, or human psychology would you like us to explore next? Subscribe to Vantage Aditya.